Dummy Switch Pod. The boys are
Yes,
back. How are you,
sir. Yes,
Chris?
sir. Quarters championship locked up. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm in a celebratory mood. And yourself?
Same here, same here. The Dan Carters of podcasting here to give you our flagrant takes, our opinions. Yeah, and be
hmm
sure to also share your opinions, leave a comment. Just some church announcements. You can catch us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And yeah, it's a championship feeling. It's a championship
Mm.
feeling. It's a complete performance is
Yeah,
what I would like to say it was.
yeah. Dominant, a lot of control. They were setting things right, basically just setting the record straight, and yeah, it was good to watch. It was. This is what we wanted,
Yeah.
even the week before. But hey, they got the result. We
Yeah.
we still the champions. If the others forgot, we were always the champions. So yeah, regardless of whether it's a rugby championship or rugby World Cup, we're the champions, and that was a championship performance.
Yeah, it's funny how it goes from doom and gloom one week to then,
Mm,
especially this was a celebratory occasion. Eben Etzebeth most kept Bok now.
yeah,
And personally, if you just a high view of this game, I think that's kind of the best picture of what this side can be. I think that's
yeah,
it. I think this is it. We're not gonna, the only thing that we can do now is do this against Ireland, do this against New Zealand. But
yeah.
I don't think it gets better than this.
Yeah. It's just the consistency is now the issue. Number one is the consistency, and then the next guys, because now we had a bit of a better balance, especially from the pack. But now it's about going forward. The next guys, can they uphold that same
Yeah.
standard and take it further? And
That's
for me,
actually
that
that's actually my next high viewpoint is that it's going to be hard to break into this team, this 23. It's going to be
mm,
hard to break in, whether you're experienced or not. Philipsa came back from injury. He played this weekend.
yeah,
He'll get more involved as the weeks go by. I felt like, but that's a Stormers issue. But
yeah,
Kitsoff as well. It's
mm,
gonna be hard for those guys, as experienced as they are, to try and get back into this team because hey, when times are good, times are good. All these guys, you can't look and say, okay, no, we just need to replace this guy. I mean, even like
yeah,
Ruan Nokia, we all know that he was what, fourth, fifth down the line. But now
yeah.
you're looking and you're saying, no, he can hang around a bit longer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And particularly because of the speciality that he brings at the line out, where we're doing more, it's more competing now, there's better calls, there's those
Yeah,
variations. He's becoming more comfortable and he's growing into it. And it's very difficult to see, somebody else coming in there and knocking him off because, he's one of the guys that are showing that, going forward, they want to be there, and if he continues in this way, yeah, you could easily also, rack up some caps, and yeah, there's things to work on, obviously, but you're quite right. Breaking into this match day 23 is, I think, a classic example. We'll see it even with a guy like for example, he had been back for a
yeah,
while, but him getting a look in to even be on the bench this past weekend, it took some time, so it's not,
yeah.
yeah, so that's case in point, and yeah, look, as a Springbok supporter, you can only be happy, to know that there's a particular level, and the next best guys that are trying to get in, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Those guys, I mean, we saw in Argentina, those guys, they have their own problems. So I think that
Mm,
that's the situation that they need to develop more than anything else is because, I mean, even in terms of, we'll get into this game, but in terms of defense, how well the
yeah,
defense performed in this game, it seems like it's a thing where
yeah,
the first team can do it, but the second team,
yeah.
Murat and the boys, they can't do it.
there's there was more connection, defensively, except that one moment we see a shot up and
Yeah,
we got caught out there. But other than that, like you say, there's that's where you can see there's a lot of, and we touched on it last week where we're questioning whether it was the system or individuals getting used to the system, and yeah, it just now this game just shows. I mean,
it
they went
shows
from scoring four
the system
tries.
is fine. It's just these guys
Yeah,
need to
individual
brush up.
error. They need to get better. And that's what we saw this weekend. That's one thing that you can appreciate is that there was a lot of sort of changes and adaptation based on what happened last week in terms of how Argentina play. The
Yeah,
ability of the team to adjust. In certain parts, especially from defensively as well, to ensure that they're covering all those sort of reverse lines that Argentina would try to run, because they did try it, and we shut it down pretty early, and yeah, we didn't see much of that going forward, so yeah, it's steps that you can see that there's something that they're
yeah.
building, and the dynasty, it's still on, it's still on.
Yeah, let's talk about the backdrop coming into this game. A dynasty. Eben has got his own dynasty there. He's got plenty
Yeah.
of caps. That was sort of the theme of the week was him. Other theme is Mani Libbok's redemption. His redemption tour kicked off in
Yeah.
Mbombela. Um, Funny as well that I mean it's what I said when it's like it's doom and gloom one week, the next week we covered in glory because last week
Mm.
everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people were saying that was his last Springbok game ever.
Mm-mm.
And then he comes out this week and puts on a blinder. And
They
especially
made.
well, he was always gonna play because Sasha's out.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
always, and what did we learn from that game? Is that maybe he's not the guy that should be finishing the games. Maybe he's the guy that should be starting the games. And how well did
Perhaps.
that work?
Yeah.
And I mean, now with
Perhaps.
Sasha's injury, the hidden injury, it's now worse than what was
Yeah.
expected. There's a lot of finger pointing of it's whose fault, it's whose fault, it's whose fault. Either way, you're going to see more of Mani Libbok.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is that the attack just looks, if we're being honest, looks so much better with Libbok running it,
Yeah,
especially when we have that type of ball that we had this weekend. Because I think that's the thing. With ball like that, yes, he's gonna show, and at the same time, look, he has to take his opportunities, he has to show it, and which he did. I think more the question comes in when, he's starting the games and it's not going like that,
yeah,
isn't there's limited window, to pull off certain things. That's where perhaps he could get better, sharpen up. But yeah, with him starting, and we saw it again in the World Cup in tight games, it worked, and it worked again now for us, and with the pressure of the goal kicking taken off of him, where
yeah.
he could just ball and
Do
it
you have a
worked.
problem with that? I personally, I don't have a problem with
No,
someone else in the team. I mean, a lot of these
no,
guys, they were kicking in high school
yeah,
since you'll find all of them were
quarters,
kickers at their school.
quarters. I mean, you look at it. Come on, you've coached. You look at what you've got and you say, okay, how do we find a solution? Because, and primarily, if they didn't really have faith in Money, they wouldn't have put him. They wouldn't have started him. They would have reverted back
Yeah,
to Pollard. But because of the way that they want to play, they know that he's one of the guys that can actually get them fizzing. And look, that backline was looking hot.
yeah,
So I don't have a problem with that if there's somebody else that can do the job. I mean, it is a team game at the end of the day, right? So, if somebody else can step up and say, okay, listen, I'll take the pressure of the goal kicking,
yeah,
let me do it. Or why not? If we're going to get the best out of Libbok, where he can just focus on, just play, just cook, just dish, just serve us. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Even Pollard came on at the end there. Some of those passes they hit the floor, but we were running so nicely. Even those passes were working. Even
Yeah,
those Kwaka bailed him out there.
they were
The bounce
they were
pass.
already. they're already in tune, they're already dialed
Yeah,
in, but so doing those things work, where typically maybe on another day that bounce pass goes and it rolls
yeah,
forward and, so yeah, it worked out, so yeah,
yeah.
I don't have a problem with somebody else kicking and Money just, doing his thing, especially if we're going to play this type of game, where we want to, really, really test the defenses with ball in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, this game, I mean, from the beginning, it was hot. These guys, they came out firing
Yeah.
from the beginning. What I also like is that the atmosphere was
Mm,
coming through the
mm,
screen. It was 3D there.
it was.
You could feel it. And again, what we're seeing early in the game, same like what we've seen early in other games, line out variations.
Mm,
I mean, it kind of worked. We got the penalty. Then the scrum, one of the first scrums should have been a penalty try. I think all
yeah. The
16
referee
of
swallowed
those
his
guys
whistle there,
looked
man.
up. Yeah,
The
all
guy didn't want
16
to
of
make a
them looked
decision,
up.
bro.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, it worked out for us. Ox, dominant, dominant
Mm,
loosehead. I don't think I've seen a loosehead this dominant. I think in my
yeah.
time of watching rugby, I know we can be prisoners to the moment, but I can't think of anyone. And he's also brought the carrying more into the Bok
The,
frame,
the,
which
the,
is which
the,
is also good for him.
the thing about Ox is that consistency is that no matter who he plays against,
Yeah,
he's always going to do that. Whereas, like you say, you can't think in recent times where there's been such a dominant loosehead,
yeah,
in the game. Yes, Beast, he had the reputation and, but I'm talking what Ox is doing week in, week out. Doesn't matter
yeah,
who, he's just, is like a psychopath in the scrum because yeah, he is. He's like that guy, where it's just he's gonna do some damage, and he does it
yeah,
every time. And the opposition, I think they already go into that situation. They know, they know, and as best as they can try, it's roller skates all day. And Argentina just, yeah, they didn't have an answer. And I mean, it's not the first time we've seen this.
yeah. And I mean, essentially, the platform was laid for these guys, the back line.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
but at the same time, I don't want to take anything away from them because the way that they played, Dialendi, the carries,
yeah.
defenders beaten. Creel, I've always been a critic, but I have acknowledged when
Mm,
he does play. And I felt like even this
yeah,
game, I felt like people almost weren't. It's like he went under the radar, but I felt like he had a very good game, especially
he
straightening the
did.
line. Because,
Yeah.
we were giving the ball some air, giving it air, but in that channel, when it was time to straighten, he was straightening, he was hitting it hard. So I'm
Yes.
appreciative, and I'll say
No,
that. I
thank you.
think
Thank you.
thank you, thank you, Fassi. I think Fassi's adjusted his
Oh,
game to the best way that he can play for the Box because he's not playing like he
yeah.
plays for the Sharks. There's
Yeah.
certain times where they'll kick the ball back to him, and I almost feel like if this was the Sharks, you'd take the longer route, you try
Yeah. Yeah.
something,
He's more direct
but now
now.
he's more direct. He's not running away from forwards. He's making sure that I'm not getting caught. That the try of his, it was good to see the same move. This one I don't even
Mm,
understand how back to back we do this thing every week, but they can't figure it out. But yeah, I
yeah.
think Fassia, like the way that he stepped into that role,
Also
fizzing
heavenly.
passes,
Also
the
heavenly.
cross kicks.
No, no. Look, right now, if you talk about a player that's where, if you think of where in the beginning, early stages, he was, there and thereabouts, and then there's some, frailties to his game, and where he is now,
Some
you
frailties to
know.
his game. They said he liked to drink a bit, but that's just a rumor. That's just a rumor.
Oh no, he must leave that to us. That's our job, But yeah, he's the way he's just gone on in leaps and bounds, where it's difficult to see him being displaced at the moment.
Yeah,
What he offers, the counter-attacking ability, the fact that yes, he's got that left boot, his physicality, is is somewhat also a bit under the radar, but
Yeah.
he's very physical, especially defensively, and that's what you want from your fullback, to be able to put their body on the line and make those last ditch tackles. But then as well, when now it comes to running it back tactically as well, the option taking, and more importantly, the ball security and being the ruler of the skies.
Yeah.
He's I think he's head and shoulders right now above a lot of the guys. Um, so geez, you have to appreciate that. You have
Yeah,
to,
and
and you
even
have to
in,
give him his flowers, for what he's done.
even for me, he was a big part of in this game why Argentina couldn't play. Because yes, they were unlucky with injuries. Then we had our defense. Our defense was a lot more aggressive. And so we can't get go forward. We've got these injuries. Scrums aren't working. So what is the only other thing we can resort to is kicking the ball.
Yeah,
And when they kicked the ball, we dealt with it well enough. I mean, it's not just him, it's the wingers as well. The way they were
yeah,
resetting for the counter attack, and the way that even when it was just him, the up and unders that he was putting, and then we put pressure back on them. So I felt
yeah.
like he was also a big. I mean, the scrums, all those things, but he marshalling the back there was also a big part of why they couldn't play.
Yeah. No, no denying that quarters, and it, basically he's sort of the class of his play, and you see him how he's thinking about, you know, the next thing, even with his current action,
Yeah,
there's intention behind what he's doing. He's not just trying a play or trying to there's more thought going into his decision making, and for me, that's what can easily make him 100 cap Bok if he gets if he
I
continues in
don't
this
believe
vein.
100 caps, but I believe. I don't believe 100 caps, but
Yeah,
I believe.
but you know what I mean, though, in terms
Yeah,
of him having an extended period in that jersey where we think where you can't select a Bok 15 or 23 without having him there. He's becoming that type of a player where you really cannot ignore him. You have to
yeah,
have him there because of the threat that he poses, and also the security that now newfound security that he brings, at the back.
yeah. We've forgotten about Villy Leroux already. It's taken what
Yeah,
2 3 games. We've forgotten about Villy Leroux, but
yeah, true. But and then as well, it's also credit to both of them because I mean, there's information sharing. There's you
yeah,
can see that there's things that he's learned there. But right now, the young guy, he's the top dog at the moment. He really is, and I think a crucial part of the Springbok game plan in terms of how they want to play. If they're going to play like this going forward, or knowing that there's this option, of ball in hand approach, but also mixing it up with the tactical side of things. So yeah, man, I'm just happy for Fassi. The Sharks need him. I'm just saying that, but yeah, I'm happy.
yeah. Just other things in this game. Hendricks, like we mentioned, kicking. Everyone has their favorite scrum half. I
Mm.
think there's been 5 starters in the past few weeks. I personally feel like he's sort of done the best. Again, it'll be hard to knock him off. I
Yeah,
know you're not that keen on Williams as a starter, so I don't know if you'll back me there with Hendricks. I
yeah, yeah.
think
He looks more composed.
yeah,
You know what I mean? He looks more composed, more in control. Maybe it's just the way that he is. He just seems like that guy that's just, he's just playing, but he's
yeah,
with purpose. Obviously, don't get me wrong, but he just has that thing. Like he's just got time, and you know, yes, he makes mistakes, but I mean, he's a kind of guy that's like he's only going to get better, and
yeah.
be a terrorist like a George Gregan type of guy where he's annoying, and yeah, I back you there, and even Williams, on the bench, I'm okay with that.
Me, I'm still a Faf apologist. For me, Faf is still number one. I'll give Hendricks a number two, but I guess again, horses for courses. Other things
Horses for
there,
courses. Yeah.
Colby and Orange playing on the touchline, cutting in. I thought, that
Yeah.
was we're using width. We're using the width, and it's having guys that can cut in and step like that is good. Uh, Peter Steph du Toit, the engine just keeps on going,
Yeah.
going, going. I've never seen a player like that.
Yeah.
Other points, I thought the restarts, they were much better kicking
I
and
think one
receiving.
maybe was just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, Visa doing a lot of work there in terms of Visa
Mm.
and Nokia. Visa a lot of meters made. And then yeah, once we got into the swing of things, man, it was just
Yeah, and we expected this, man, quarters. Let's be honest, like we did say yes, in the previous week, I felt certainly personally, I thought we respected them a bit too much,
yeah,
but this time around, the challenge was well and truly laid down, and we said we were going for broke and we did, and like you say, once the guys got into the swing of things, it just looked there wasn't any doubt.
yeah,
There really wasn't any doubt. Because of the patience that they showed defensively, and then the subtle little things. You mentioned the end of we missed the power uh, in the last week in terms of those carries in the 12 channel. Whereas is a different type of player. And we certainly saw that when he came on as well. The different type of player that he is. His
yeah. And they're
ability,
keen.
the
It looks
safety
like they're keen
skills.
on Ahmed 12.
Yeah,
It's a recurring theme.
which Yeah, which I think it's really about that, exploiting those spaces, that acceleration of his, through through the gap is quite something, maybe it's that, especially, the back end of a game, getting guys away, and really taking it away from teams. That's what I'm thinking, in terms of how they're seeing him now, as opposed to him at 13. And at the
Yeah,
same time, it also, you got to give the credit to Jesse Krill because he's been holding it down and he's
yeah.
not letting it go, there at 13. So, but all round, I think again, it all starts up front, but just the overall
Yeah, and
execution,
I
the
think at the
balance.
breakdown
Yeah.
as well, they've kind of sorted out problems that we had, like, with this new system and obviously using less players at the ruck to have more
Yeah.
guys spreading the field. I think the cleaning was a lot better, the intensity of everything. So yeah, it's all around, man. Like I said, I think this is the best picture of what we can be. And then obviously, like you say, guys like Ahmed, they're coming on and
Yeah.
further sealing the deal. Pollard with the little kick in behind. That was a nice one. I thought it was lucky when I watched it. Then I
Yeah.
watched it second time and I was like, no, that was actually class. Like that was actually
Yeah. Because I think now they at the point where they're utilizing every guy's got their speciality. You
yeah,
spoke about Krill that he's running those hot lines, and it's those things that put him on the scene. If you think back, in terms of used to hit those hard challenging lines, and because of the physical specimen that he is,
yeah,
he's able to bust through. He's got the pace. Pollard as well, he's saw him in the week before, taking it flat, and now he's trying those things, those kicks, utilizing the wingers. It's
yeah,
basically full utilization of everybody's skill, especially in the backs. And it's look, it can only get to another level potentially, from here. But now it's going to be challenging going into the northern hemisphere, different conditions. How it's going to be interesting to see how that adapts and if there's a big change in player personnel,
yeah.
especially more so in the back line.
Ah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. They're not changing.
yeah,
Those games are for Portugal. That's when they'll try and look at guys. But these
yeah.
guys, it's
But
good
look, you
times
can't
now.
be upset, man. You can't be. I mean, they gave us the championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's move on. Let's move on to another championship, the
Oh,
URC. The URC started this week.
the
A
quarters.
chance for my Lions to bounce back against Ulster and bounce back they did. I was
Yeah,
happy. I won't lie, I was happy with that performance. Main thing, the integration of the Curry Cup players. into this URC team, and
Hmm.
then the URC team players coming back and also integrating well. It was just
Yeah,
all around. Nohamba was back at 9, Volata at 10. He did a job. He's not going to be the best coming off long-term injuries,
yeah,
but he did a job, and I'm happy with
he did.
him.
He
Yeah, I
did.
think nice thing you sort of see Lions winning a scrum, playing the line out, and then scoring from a breakaway maul. That's the DNA that I like to see. That strong set piece running game. I will say Nohamba is better at 10. I'm sorry, he's just
I was, uh,
he's just
I was
better at
about
10.
to, I was about to say to you that look, as much as yes, he did a job, Kate Volita, but the Lions are just something different with
He's
November
just
team.
more effective. He's more effective at 10. It's just it is what it is. I think Q Horn also, he's starting this level is starting to look easier and easier for him,
Yeah, yeah,
having been around Bok camps, and typically that does tend to happen. There was nice depth with Franco Marais coming in there. The only thing, Rabs also look sharp. The only thing I'd
yeah,
say is we need to be denying teams bonus points, because
yeah,
that was the game within the game. Once everything was wrapped up, that was what essentially Ulster were playing for and what we should have been trying to deny them. But you know
yeah,
how it
yeah.
is. You get a win, you get a lead, we're gonna win. So it's just like
Yeah, and the Lions got the bonus point as well, you know. But one thing I'll
yeah,
say this is this that the Lions, for me, out of all the SA sides, they look the best, because they look the most clear about who they are and what they want to do. I mean, like you
yeah,
mentioned, they tried the breakaway more. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and how to execute it, and they've got the guys. Franco Horn at eighth man. He's one of the guys that we don't really speak about much. But when you watch him again, and you see that geez, the work rate that he has, the skill that he has, you know, the linking, between backs and forwards, he's one of the better eighth man that we have around in the country, and the Lions certainly they know how to utilize him. And it's just I think the more togetherness of that Lions pack than anything. They work very hard, and that's what's getting them sort of in those positions where their backs can then do what they do.
yeah.
And yeah, like it was a good bounce back win for them. Especially with everybody that's integrated in there, and I think they've got it right out of all the other franchises. In terms of that integration of the Curry Cup and URC
Yeah.
players. All yeah. So yeah, good for the
Moving
Lions, but still, it's only round one, eh?
uh, moving to the Bulls, their integration totally failed. Their integration, I don't have like much to say
What's
on the
going on
game.
there?
It's just that the set piece was absolutely terrible,
Yeah,
talking scrums and lineouts. Uh
yeah.
for guys that they should be able to do it at this level. Um it's just it's not good enough, because you've got Ekafan and Merva there, you've got Robbie's there. If we're talking about lineouts, those
Yeah,
the pack is experienced. Scrum time, Chakweni, I know, I think this was his first URC game. He had a bit
but
of a tough time there, but it was also on the tight head side, so I can't only blame him. But the set piece is basically crumbled in here, and then
yeah.
they couldn't put phases together. When they did, they managed to score, and it's just Moody and Hanacom. That's it.
It
That's
was
the
good,
story. It's
good,
just Moody and Hanacom.
yeah, good heads up play, and like the individual sort of skill was coming through there, that's what got them through. But like for me, it's like, they lack the blue pill within. You know what I mean? That they lack the blue pill within, I'm just saying, because it's like you mentioned, they've got hobbies, they've got Akafanamer, there's experienced guys in the pack.
Yeah.
There's something that's just not connecting right there. And like for me, there's no blue bill within, there's something missing there, there's
Yeah,
something
what's
missing.
also missing is Gumete. I don't know where Gumete is. Him and Jake
All of
White.
a
I
sudden,
don't know. I don't know what's
All of a
going on there.
sudden, I don't know what that relationship is like. Yeah, and it's one of the guys, but I mean, one guy was not going to fix everything, but yes, certainly you can see a guy
Yeah.
like that is missing, and I think maybe for them, it's going to come a time where they're going to have to look past guys that are, a little bit over, they past their prime. Yes, experience is good, but, sometimes you just need energy, energy and more clarity, because as much as yes, they want to build that big roster, things can also get confused within there,
Yeah.
with there's so
Yeah.
many leaders and there's so many of this,
So many co-captains also. That's their thing also.
yeah, you understand. So yeah,
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 moving on, Ospreys versus Stormers. I feel Stormers look for me is two things. The personnel, I don't think maybe I'm not I'm not a supporter of theirs, so I don't have like sentimental value to where I can say, ah no, this guy though, this guy. I personnel wise, I don't think they have a strong group. Uh
mm-mm.
they have strong in areas. I like the locking department, Schickeling there and Van
Yes,
Heerden. Uh
yeah,
Willemse is there. Willemse is not he still needs to get back into the swing of things. I
yeah,
felt like he was not as sharp, but I mean, obviously the injury, and I feel like the Stormers also need to move him away from fullback and get him more involved in the game at 10 or 12.
mm,
That's
mm,
because they don't have ideas. They didn't have territory in this game. They were the thing is what also proves my point is that Ospreys had to make like double the tackles that they had to
yeah,
make. So it means they were just running at them, running at them, running at them, but they couldn't break through. They didn't have that sharpness, that killer edge, that
mm,
creativity, and that's
yeah,
to try and find that. I don't know how you try and find that, and Ospreys were able to do that and find that. And this is a team that they beat, I think, three of the four South African sides last
mm,
season. So
yeah,
it's no joke team, and they were able
yeah.
to find that killer blow. Stormers tried to close it at the end, the gap, but it was too
It
late.
was too late. It was too late. It was too late. Look, Coders, you said it all. You said it all. And I think it's even the same with the Sharks. There must be an I blew it, the rugby version. Because like, how do you blow a 20-point lead like that? You know, yes, fine, you're away from home.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to say, yeah, they played Currie Cup or 100 minutes, this, that, and the other. No, look, you got 20 points ahead and then you lost, you know. I'm just, I'm just, that tells you, and I also believe it's also part of the personnel thing. And potentially, I was thinking about it to say, maybe it's a voice thing as well, maybe because when you look at even the Currie Cup, JP turned it around, and then God pulled through in the semis and in the
So
final,
it's plum
and
out. It's
now
plum out.
look, I'm not saying that yet,
Two
but
trophies
it,
and it's plum out.
no, I'm not saying that yet, but I'm just saying that in the URC there's a problem, and
Yeah.
somewhere along the line they need to find out what is causing this issue, because it's basically the same guys, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's disappointing. Honestly, it's really disappointing. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah,
It's
me, I,
really
did, I didn't watch that game. I don't want to see the
no.
Sharks for at
I,
least
I, I'm
another
telling
week.
you,
After what happened, I don't want to see them for at least another week.
I'm,
But
t-
yeah,
I'm, I'm
that's
telling you, Coders. I'm telling you, it's disappointing. You don't even. It's not even worth a mention. You can't even say, yeah, leave them. Just leave them.
any closing remarks just from me. Shout out to Mapansula Rugby. I also watched that show. I
Yeah,
enjoy those guys. So
yeah.
it was nice
No, look,
getting the shout out. I also
they're
watched that show.
welcome for some drinks at the house or at the stadium, because we attend. So yeah, it's shout out to the guys. It's we all love this thing. We all love this thing. So big ups.
Any closing remarks from you? Fixtures, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. I haven't got them up. Okay, it's Lions,
Look,
Edinburgh. It's a
Yeah,
win.
Bulls, Ulster,
Bulls, Ulster, they need to get it together. I'm thinking maybe Ulster might sneak.
Sharks,
Dragons,
Dragons.
Sharks need to do something, but I
They need
believe
to do
they'll pull it
something.
together.
No, I think they'll do
Stormers,
it. They'll,
Zebra, Stormers
hey,
also, you
Zebre
need to do
can.
something.
They need to. They need to. It's all about now. It's doing something. Brock time is over now. Now it's tribalism, So, but also, but also as South Africans. But yeah, they need to. We need to. Our teams need to start getting used to winning away from home.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Otherwise we're going to struggle in these tournaments. We need to get that right. Don't fall into the Super Rugby trap where we struggle to win away from home.
Yeah, and that's it from us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
We out. We out.